Have you ever wished you could make your dreams come true faster? Maybe you've tried to use the law of attraction, but things just aren't happening as quickly as you'd like. Well, there's a secret method that can help. It's called the living in the end technique, and it was created by a man named Neville Goddard. This isn't just another trick. It's a powerful way to change your life from the inside out. When we talk about manifestation, we often think about positive thinking or vision boards. But Neville Goddard's method goes deeper. It's all about using your imagination in a special way. He believed that your imagination is the most powerful tool you have. It's not just for daydreaming or coming up with creative ideas. According to Goddard, your imagination is the key to shaping your reality. Now, you might be thinking, but I imagine things all the time and they don't come true. That's because there's a specific way to use your imagination for manifestation. Goddard's technique isn't about wishing or hoping. It's about feeling so deeply that what you want is already yours, that your mind and body believe it's true. This belief then starts to change your actions and the world around you. The living in the end technique is different from other manifestation methods because it focuses on the feeling of already having what you want, not just thinking about it. It's like watching a movie in your mind where you're already living your dream life. But instead of just watching, you're feeling all the emotions that come with it. This powerful combination of visualization and emotion is what makes this technique so effective. You might be wondering why imagination is so important. Well, think about it this way. Everything you see around you, buildings, cars, phones, all started as an idea in someone's imagination. Before these things became real, someone had to imagine them first. Goddard believed that the same principle applies to our personal lives. If we can imagine something vividly enough, we can make it real. But here's the key. It's not just about picturing what you want. It's about feeling it so deeply that your subconscious mind believes it's already happened. When you do this, something amazing starts to happen. Your actions begin to change without you even realizing it. You start making decisions and taking steps that align with your imagined reality. It's like your whole being is working towards making your imagination real. This is why Goddard's technique is so powerful for fast manifestation. Instead of just hoping and wishing, you're actually changing your inner world. And when your inner world changes, your outer world has to follow. It's like planting a seed in your mind. If you water it with your imagination and feelings, it can't help but grow into reality. Now let's talk about the man who came up with this amazing technique. Neville Goddard wasn't your typical spiritual teacher. He was born in 1905 in Barbados and moved to the United States as a young man. At first, he worked as a dancer and in the fashion industry, but he always felt drawn to spiritual ideas and the power of the mind. Goddard's teachings were unique for his time. While many spiritual teachers focused on external rituals or complex practices, Goddard kept things simple. He believed that the power to change our lives was already inside us, in our imagination. He taught that our imagination isn't just for creativity. It's the very foundation of reality. What made Goddard's ideas so powerful was how he explained them. He didn't use complicated language or hard-to-understand concepts. Instead, he used stories and examples from everyday life to show how imagination creates reality. He would often share his own experiences of using imagination to change his life, making his teachings feel real and achievable for everyone. Goddard's background in performance came in handy when he started teaching. He was known for his captivating lectures, where he would demonstrate his techniques live on stage. He would ask audience members to imagine a specific scene, and then later, people would report that what they had imagined actually happened in their lives. These demonstrations made a big impact and helped spread his ideas. One of the things that set Goddard apart was his interpretation of the Bible. He saw the Bible not as a historical document, but as a guide to using your imagination. He believed that the stories in the Bible were actually talking about states of mind and how to use imagination to create change. This unique view made his teachings appeal to people from all kinds of backgrounds, not just those interested in traditional religion. Goddard's ideas weren't just theory, he lived them. He used his own techniques to manifest major changes in his life, from wealth to travel opportunities. He often told the story of how he used his imagination to get an honorable discharge from the army during World War II when it seemed impossible. Stories like these showed people that his methods really worked. Over the years, Goddard wrote many books and gave countless lectures. His ideas spread and influenced many other teachers in the fields of personal development and spirituality. Even today, decades after his death, people are still discovering and using his techniques. Many modern manifestation methods have roots in Goddard's teachings, even if they don't always mention his name. What's really interesting about Goddard's approach is how practical it is. He didn't ask people to spend hours meditating or to follow strict rules. Instead, he taught that a few minutes of focused imagination each day could change your whole life. This made his techniques accessible to everyone, no matter how busy their lives were. Now that we know a bit about Neville Goddard, let's dive into the heart of his living in the end technique. The big idea behind this method is simple but powerful. To manifest something, you need to imagine that you already have it. But it's not just about picturing it in your mind. You need to feel it so deeply that your mind and body believe it's already true. Here's how it works. Instead of thinking about what you want as something in the future, you imagine it as if it's happening right now. Let's say you want a new job. Instead of thinking, I hope I get a new job soon, you imagine yourself already in that job. You feel the satisfaction of doing work you love. You picture yourself walking into your new office, talking with your new colleagues, and getting your first paycheck. The key is to make this imaginary scene as real as possible in your mind. You want to use all your senses. What do you see in your new workplace? What sounds do you hear? How does your new chair feel? Can you smell the coffee in the break room? The more detailed and vivid you make this scene, the more powerful it becomes. But here's the really important part. You need to feel the emotions that come with already having what you want. If you got your dream job, how would you feel? Excited, proud, grateful? Let yourself really feel these emotions. Goddard taught that feeling is the secret to making things happen. When you combine vivid imagination with real emotion, you send a powerful message to your subconscious mind. Now you might be thinking, but isn't this just pretending? And in a way, yes, it is. But Goddard believed that your imagination is more real and more powerful than you think. He taught that what you imagine with feeling becomes the blueprint for your reality. It's like you're giving your subconscious mind a new set of instructions for what your life should look like. This technique works because it changes how you see yourself and the world around you. When you regularly imagine yourself living your dream life, you start to believe it's possible. And when you believe something is possible, you start to act differently. You might notice opportunities you didn't see before. You might feel more confident and take more chances. Without even realizing it, you start moving towards your goal. Goddard explained that our outer world is a reflection of our inner world. By changing your inner world through imagination, you change the reflection. It's like looking in a mirror. If you change your expression, the reflection has to change too. In the same way, when you change your inner image of yourself and your life, the outer world has to change to match it. One of the great things about this technique is that it bypasses a lot of the mental blocks we usually have. Often, when we think about our goals, we also think about all the reasons why we can't achieve them. We worry about how hard it will be or all the things that could go wrong. But when you're living in the end, you're focused on the feeling of already having achieved your goal. This positive focus helps to silence those doubting voices in your head. Goddard taught that this technique works for all kinds of goals, big and small. Whether you want to find your soulmate, start a successful business, improve your health, or buy your dream home, the process is the same. You create a vivid mental scene of already having what you want, and you feel the emotions that go with it. It's important to understand that this isn't about forcing things to happen. Goddard didn't teach that you could control other people or break the laws of nature. Instead, he believed that by changing your inner world, you naturally align yourself with the version of reality where your desire exists. It's like tuning a radio to the right frequency to hear the station you want. One of the challenges people often face with this technique is staying consistent. It's easy to imagine your dream life once or twice, but to make it work, you need to do it regularly. Goddard suggested doing your imagination session right before you fall asleep at night and right after you wake up in the morning. These are times when your subconscious mind is most receptive to new ideas. Another key point is to live from your imagination, not just in it. This means that after you do your imagination session, you carry that feeling with you throughout your day. If you imagined getting your dream job, you might find yourself walking with more confidence or speaking more assertively in your current job. You're not pretending or acting fake. You're simply aligning your current behavior with your future self. Goddard also taught that it's important to let go of the how. Many people get stuck trying to figure out exactly how their desire will come true. But Goddard said this isn't necessary. Your job is to focus on the end result, to live in the feeling of the wish fulfilled. The how will take care of itself, often in ways you couldn't have predicted. This technique can feel strange at first. After all, we're used to thinking that we need to work hard and struggle to get what we want. But Goddard taught that struggle isn't necessary. In fact, he believed that struggle often pushes our desires away. By feeling that we already have what we want, we open ourselves up to receiving it with ease. It's also important to understand that this technique isn't about ignoring reality or living in a fantasy world. You still take action in your daily life. The difference is that your actions come from a place of already feeling successful rather than from a place of lack or need. This change in perspective can make your actions more effective and enjoyable. The step-by-step guide to living in the end. Now that we understand the core of Neville Goddard's technique, let's break it down into steps you can follow. Remember, this isn't a complicated process, but it does take practice and consistency to master. The first step is to get clear on what you want. Take some time to think about your desire. Be specific. If you want a new job, what kind of job is it? What's your role? How much do you earn? The clearer you are about what you want, the easier it will be to imagine it. Next, find a quiet place where you won't be disturbed. You want to be comfortable and relaxed. Some people like to lie down, while others prefer to sit in a comfortable chair. The important thing is that you can relax completely. Now close your eyes and take a few deep breaths. Let your body relax. Feel the tension leaving your muscles. As you relax, start to build a scene in your mind that represents your desire fulfilled. This is where you really use your imagination. Let's say you want to own your dream home. Imagine yourself standing in front of this house. See the details, the color of the walls, the shape of the windows, the front door. Now imagine yourself walking up to the door. Feel the keys in your hand. Hear the sound of the key turning in the lock. As you open the door and step inside, really feel the emotions. Feel the joy and satisfaction of owning this beautiful home. Look around at the rooms, touch the walls, smell the fresh scent of your new home. Make it as real as possible in your mind. The key here is to involve all your senses. The more real you can make it feel, the more powerful this exercise becomes. Don't just see it, hear it, feel it, smell it, taste it, if appropriate. Make it so real that it's like you're actually there. Now here's a crucial step. Feel the gratitude. Feel how thankful you are to have this wonderful home. Let that feeling of gratitude fill your entire body. This feeling of gratitude is like a magnet, drawing your desire to you. Stay in this scene for as long as you can, really living in it. When you're ready, slowly open your eyes. But try to hold on to that feeling of having your desire fulfilled. Carry it with you as you go about your day. Goddard recommended doing this exercise right before you fall asleep at night and right after you wake up in the morning. These are times when your subconscious mind is most receptive, but you can do it anytime you have a few quiet moments to yourself. Remember, consistency is key. You might not see results immediately, but keep at it. The more you practice, the more natural it will become, and the more powerful the results. While Neville Goddard's technique is simple, there are some common mistakes people make when trying it out. Being aware of these can help you avoid them and get better results. One of the biggest mistakes is focusing on the lack of what you want instead of the having of it. For example, if you're trying to manifest more money, you might find yourself thinking about how little money you have now. This focuses your energy on the wrong thing. Remember, the key is to feel as if you already have what you want. Another common error is trying to figure out how your desire will come true. You might find yourself planning and scheming, trying to make it happen. But Goddard taught that this isn't necessary. Your job is to live in the end result. The how will take care of itself, often in ways you couldn't have imagined. Many people also give up too soon. They try the technique for a few days and then stop because they don't see immediate results. Manifestation isn't always instant. Sometimes it takes time for things to align in the physical world. Trust the process and keep going, even if you don't see results right away. Another mistake is not fully engaging your emotions. Some people can visualize what they want, but they don't really feel it. Remember, feeling is the secret. It's not enough to see it in your mind. You need to feel it in your heart and body. Some people make the mistake of constantly checking to see if their desire has manifested. This actually comes from a place of doubt and can slow down the manifestation process. Once you've done your imagination session, try to let it go and trust that it's on its way. Lastly, a common error is talking negatively about your desire or doubting it when you're not doing your imagination sessions. Remember, you want to live from the state of your wish fulfilled all the time, not just during your practice sessions. To get the most out of Neville Goddard's technique, here are some tips that can help boost your success. First, practice makes perfect. The more you do this technique, the better you'll get at it. Don't worry if you find it hard to visualize or feel the emotions at first. Keep practicing, and it will become easier and more natural. Try to make your imaginary scenes as vivid and detailed as possible. The more real it feels to you, the more powerful it becomes. Use all your senses to make the scene come alive in your mind. It can be helpful to use physical relaxation techniques before you start your imagination session. Take some deep breaths, tense and relax your muscles, or do some light stretching. The more relaxed your body is, the easier it is for your mind to focus. Don't limit yourself. Goddard taught that nothing is impossible in your imagination. Dream big. The only limits are the ones you place on yourself. Keep your imaginary scenes short and simple. It's better to have a clear, vivid, short scene that you can easily repeat than a long, complicated one that's hard to remember. Try to do your imagination sessions at the same time each day. This helps to create a habit and makes it easier for your subconscious mind to respond. During the day, look for signs that your desire is manifesting. Maybe you overhear a conversation related to your goal, or you see something that reminds you of it. Take these as confirmations that your manifestation is on its way. Be patient with yourself and the process. Manifestation isn't always instant. Sometimes things need to align in the physical world, which can take time. Trust that it's working, even if you don't see results right away. Stay positive and avoid negative self-talk. If you catch yourself doubting or speaking negatively about your desire, gently redirect your thoughts back to your imagined scene. Finally, remember to have fun with this process. Enjoy the feeling of living your dream life in your imagination. The more you enjoy it, the more you'll want to do it, and the more powerful it becomes. To help you understand how powerful Neville Goddard's technique can be, let's look at a real-life example. This story is about Sarah, a woman who used the living in the end technique to transform her career. Sarah had been working in a job she didn't enjoy for years. She dreamed of becoming a successful writer, but she always felt like it was just a fantasy. One day, she learned about Neville Goddard's technique and decided to give it a try. Every night before bed, Sarah would close her eyes and imagine herself as a successful author. She visualized herself sitting at her desk, writing her best-selling novel. She imagined the feeling of holding her published book in her hands, seeing her name on the cover. She felt the joy and pride of receiving glowing reviews and fan letters. In her imagination, Sarah felt what it was like to be interviewed about her book. She imagined the excitement of seeing her book in bookstore windows. She even visualized her bank account growing from her book sales. At first, nothing seemed to change in Sarah's life, but she kept at it, night after night. She started to notice that she felt more confident during the day. She found herself writing more often, even if it was just for a few minutes in her lunch break. After a few weeks, Sarah had an idea for a story that she couldn't stop thinking about. She started writing it in her free time. As she wrote, she realized that all those nights of imagining herself as an author had prepared her for this moment. The words flowed easily, and she loved the process. Months passed, and Sarah finished her first draft. She felt proud of herself, but she didn't stop there. She kept using Goddard's technique, now imagining herself going through the publishing process. To her surprise, a friend introduced her to a literary agent who loved her book. The agent helped Sarah refine her manuscript, and soon it was picked up by a publisher. 2 years after she started using Goddard's technique, Sarah held her published book in her hands, just like she had imagined so many times. Sarah's story shows how powerful imagination can be when combined with consistent action. She didn't just imagine success, she also put in the work to write her book. But it was her nightly practice of living in the end that gave her the confidence and motivation to keep going, even when things got tough. You might be thinking, this sounds great, but I'm so busy. How can I fit this into my day? The good news is that you don't need hours of free time to use Neville Goddard's technique. Even a few minutes each day can make a big difference. The ideal times to practice are right before you fall asleep at night and just after you wake up in the morning. These are times when your subconscious mind is most receptive to new ideas. If you can, set aside 10 minutes at these times for your imagination sessions. But don't worry if you can't always do it at these times. You can practice this technique anytime you have a few quiet moments. Maybe it's during your lunch break or while you're waiting for the bus. You could even do a quick session in the bathroom if that's the only quiet place you can find. Remember, it's not about the length of time you spend, but the quality of your imagination and the intensity of your feeling. A vivid, emotion-filled 2-minute session can be more powerful than a distracted 30-minute one. You can also incorporate this technique into your daily activities. For example, as you're getting dressed in the morning, imagine you're putting on the clothes you'd wear in your dream job. As you're driving to work, feel the excitement of driving to your ideal workplace. Another way to fit this into your day is to use reminders. You could set an alarm on your phone to remind you to take a minute to imagine your desire fulfilled. Or you could put a small object on your desk that represents your goal, and whenever you see it, take a moment to feel as if you've already achieved it. The key is to make it a habit. Like any new habit, it might feel strange or difficult at first, but the more you do it, the more natural it will become. Soon, you'll find yourself automatically thinking and feeling from the state of your wish fulfilled throughout your day. Neville Goddard's Living in the End technique is a powerful tool for manifestation. It's not about wishing or hoping, it's about changing your inner world to change your outer reality. By consistently imagining and feeling your desire as already fulfilled, you align yourself with that reality and open the door for it to manifest in your life. Remember, this technique isn't magic. It won't instantly transform your life overnight. But with consistent practice and patience, you can use it to create significant changes in your life. It's about reprogramming your subconscious mind, changing your beliefs about what's possible for you. The beauty of this technique is its simplicity. You don't need any special tools or skills. All you need is your imagination and your ability to feel. Whether your goal is a new career, a loving relationship, improved health, or financial abundance, you can use this technique to help bring it into your life. As you start using this technique, be kind to yourself. It might take some practice to get good at vivid visualization or to maintain the feeling of your wish fulfilled. That's okay. Every time you practice, you're making progress. Remember Sarah's story. Her success didn't happen overnight, but her consistent practice led to amazing changes in her life. Your story can be just as inspiring. Start today. Choose something you want to manifest, create a vivid scene that represents it, and start living in the end. Your future self will thank you for it. Thank you for exploring Neville Goddard's secret technique with me. I hope this knowledge empowers you to create the life you've always dreamed of. Remember, your imagination is the workshop where you can shape your reality. Use it wisely, use it often, and watch as your life transforms before your eyes.